Hey, what's going on? Welcome to another or episode, I guess, of Shirts versus Skins. I am your host, Alistair Conrath. Not too much to get to, I guess, today. Also, you know, whenever I go on YouTube, I always see a video, and if it's 15 minutes long, I'm just like, I don't have 15 minutes to listen to it. So I'm thinking of possibly reducing the show time really, really short. I haven't a clue on how to put a lot of information into like 5 minutes because I think that for the most part is, in my opinion, the attention span of most, including myself, and mine is probably less than that. When I click on a video on YouTube, even if I see it say like 7 minutes, I'm like, you think it's a lot of time, right? So, uh, with that said, I'm going to try and possibly do it different and shove a lot of stuff into 5 minutes and and go at this possibly a different way. I will chat with a couple other people, see if that's a legit idea or not. I don't know. I'm just starting this up. I'm 4 days into it, and I looked on YouTube analytics, and it said basically around the 5 minute point is what's most popular. And so, with that said, I have an issue or a tendency to run on anyway, and therefore, maybe if I have a 5 minute structure and a limit, then I can actually just go ahead and put everything condensed and not necessarily expound or expand on anything. I don't have to have every show 5 minutes. I'm obviously speaking out loud now. Anyway, getting to it, that's already 2 minutes. So I'd only have 3 minutes left to do whatever. So we'll figure it out. But I also chatted with a buddy of mine who I'm up here in California with, and who knows a thing or two about websites and things that I could possibly do better. So I will incorporate those over the weekend. I think I might just have this be a Monday through Friday thing that I just decided on right now. I don't know. There's a part of me that didn't want to do this tonight because I don't necessarily have a bunch to go off. I really don't. And also it's 10 to 10, and I have, training tomorrow, so I didn't, whatever. I was going to bitch out. Bottom line, I was going to bitch out. And so, I didn't, being that I didn't want to quit something that I so am well known for, starting something, stopping. So all of a sudden inside of me, it feels like I need to do this. And I don't have an issue with it. Don't get me wrong. I can talk, as you can see or have seen, at length for a while, and it's not necessarily an issue. But I probably can ramble on, in the good words of Zeppelin. I think it might be a little bit better if I condense things. We'll see. I'm not positive. So anyway, with that said, let's cruise on. I want to hit on, it's still NFL free agency. It's day 2. And it's odd to me how teams can let somebody go. And put it this way, I'm talking about the Dolphins. Made a lot of waves, obviously, on Monday, trading for Byron Maxwell and Kiko Alonso. They got, they got some DN, and I'm blanking out. I'm so blanking right now on the DN. I can't even think about it. Somebody really good to pair with Ndamukong Suh, and I'll get there. They let Lamar Miller go, right? And I can't remember what Lamar Miller signed with Houston at, but they bring in C.J. Anderson and sign him to an offer sheet, 4 years, $18 million. Once again, I suppose I could find what Lamar Miller signed for in Houston. I gotta think it's something close to that, right? Therefore, Lamar Miller's a better back than C.J. Anderson. Why wouldn't you, if you're already spending as much money as Miami is, why? Why would you sign C.J. Anderson for maybe a couple million less? Then again, like I say, Lamar Miller could have signed a 5-year, $40 million contract. I don't think he did. And so to let him go and bring in C.J. Anderson, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. C.J. Anderson had a good little run in Denver for how many games? A half a season. Let's just say it's a half a season, okay? Lamar Miller's been decent for a while. And he did actually really well last year in Miami. And so all of a sudden to let him go and bring in C.J. Anderson, who is unproven, pretty one-dimensional as a running back in my opinion. I mean, Miami's doing good things on defense. I can't think of the DN they signed to go with Sue. Either way. I think, they're just, some teams aren't ran right, and that's just the bottom line. We know the Clevelands and blah blah blah, and, Detroit, but Miami, Philly, throw Philly in there. But Miami just seems to be one of those teams too. You have a talent, but it just seems to not be utilized. So, also obviously the talk today is Colin Kaepernick. By the way, part of the this is my tangent, like going here to there. But part of what my buddy was telling me about this show is when I actually bring somebody up, I can show a video of him or put in an image of him to kind of cut up. I know you all just love looking at my face for 5 to 15 minutes, but it would be cool if I was to actually interject video or a picture of who I'm talking about. Make it good for you guys too. Like I say, you don't have to look at me for the whole time. So with that said, Colin Kaepernick, flash the Colin Kaepernick picture or video. I will figure out how to do that. Apparently now he is a hot commodity. And there's a lot of things about Kaepernick on the eye test that you can like, but there's the intangibles that raise a little bit of red flag. Obviously, he seems to have, a little entitlement issues, possibly that comes with his youth, but talent-wise, once again, he went to a Super Bowl, don't get me wrong, which is great. They lost that to Baltimore, but the defense, obviously, for the 49ers that year is what got them there. He did what he needed to do. They had just enough weapons on offense to, get him there. Almost won, that Super Bowl, too. That was the one with the crazy, the lights went out type of deal, and Baltimore was just kicking the shit out of 49ers, and then all of a sudden the lights come back on, and 49ers have renewed life. Anyway, they lost. And Kaepernick got the big contract, but it didn't, I don't know, there's something about him that doesn't strike me as your franchise quarterback. Albeit, there's like I say, all of a sudden he's the hot guy, and what makes sense, I guess, is Denver, just because same situation somewhat like San Francisco, since dominant defense. Obviously, we saw that last year. They won a Super Bowl because of their defense, not because of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, during the last part of the season, I think it was the last week of the season, and then playoffs, did just enough. Peyton did zero that was spectacular. He did probably make a couple passes here and there. It's what he does and used to do a lot of, but it was the defense that did what they had to do. Historically, statistically speaking, one of, if not the best defensive postseason runs ever. Along with the Bears, obviously, of 85, couple shutouts. It's not bad. But Broncos D is where it's at. And so for Colin Kaepernick to go there, I think it makes a lot of sense because he doesn't have to win. He can hand the ball off to, I guess C.J. Anderson might, run. But, they can get a running back. They've got a good running, back, or a scheme for a running back, I guess I should say. He'll do fine. I think Kaepernick, if he goes to Denver, it's the best thing for him to have happen. If he stayed in San Francisco, I think he'd have success with Chip Kelly's offense. I do, but something tells me Chip Kelly's a little lackadaisical in his authoritative, disciplinary action, and I think Kaepernick wouldn't think. I think he needs structure. I think that's why Jim Harbaugh was so good with him, because he was able to give him structure and really be a coach to him, and a father figure, maybe, guidance, guidance principle, something like that. I don't see that happening for him in San Francisco. I could be completely wrong. I mean, who knows? Maybe Chip Kelly gets to San Fran. It's a different ship that's ran, and Kaepernick goes off and is very successful. I don't see him obviously going back to San Fran. So Denver, like I say, probably a best case scenario. So that is obviously going to be taken care of here in the next couple of days. He'll probably sign with somebody. There's other things happening, not anything too crazy. So what I'd like to do is real quick, being I'm a Viking fan, is comment on the Alex Boone pickup for the Vikings, which I think is amazing. Obviously I'm biased, right? Because I don't know why I was just looking at the paper towel roll behind me, but I want to find, yeah, here it is. Obviously he said all the right things at the press conference, but he did say something that, I enjoyed, to the sense he appreciates the division. He appreciates that it's a black and blue division. He said when he was growing up, the NFC North was, the toughest of them, and he's got that nastiness that plays well for it. He said, this is the place, this is the division, I'm excited about this, blah, blah, blah. Talking about where he was playing, but basically about his nasty side, he said it's fair reputation as long as they don't call me dirty, which the Vikings need that. They do. They really need to have somebody on the O-line that was nasty. Nobody who they, Khalil obviously isn't nasty. And Lodeholt's soft-spoken. I've actually interviewed Lodeholt. I've interviewed Sullivan. Everybody, great guys, don't get me wrong, but nobody plays with a necessary, you don't meet him and are like, yeah, he's got a little bit of a, nasty little edge to him. Alex Boone is that dude, and what I also like is Alex Boone said this, quote, I've got friends on the team, and they've all said the same thing, and unquote, real quick, pause quote, I don't know what I say to that, but as Vikings fans, we've had to deal with shit for a long time, and so now to have the coaches in place, is, Zimmer, who's amazing, Spielman's a decent GM, the locker room, it seems like good, is refreshing to us. So for Alex Boone to say great locker room, the guys told me great locker room, great guys, great coaches, great organization from the top down, and those are guys that he trusts, so I believe him. It's cool. It's just cool. The Vikings surprised a lot of people last year, went 11-5 to everybody's surprise. I don't give a hoot who says otherwise, but they still are a couple pieces away, it seems like, and adding a Boone to the mix to add to offensive line help too. So Clemens, who started all year, can learn more on the bench. It's huge. I really do think that's a massive signing for the Vikings. And the dude's 28, couple-time Pro Bowler. And I like nasty. It's football. I enjoy nasty, and that's what he said too. He's just like, if you're against me, I don't like you. It's a violent game, and I'm gonna, it's violent. So, bottom line, super stoked about that signing for the Vikings. Next, obviously they could use, some cornerback help. Basically, wide receiver, obviously safety. But then again, they got safety wrapped up. So we'll see. I'm excited. I really am. I'm just things are looking up for the Vikings, and it's been a long time since that's happened to us. And so, that selfish side of me that just took up 5 minutes, or the last 4.5 minutes, talking Vikings. Obviously, once it gets a little bit more to football season, and not just free agency, it's going to ramp up, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, anyway, I'm out of time. Once again, I don't know how in the hell I'm going to keep this thing to 5 minutes if I wanted to do that, because I'm at 14:40 right now, and I could just keep going. But anyway, I hope you guys had a great Thursday, and I hope you have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend. I don't know if I'll do the weekends yet or not, but anyway, have a great weekend. I will talk to you soon. Shirts and Skins, I'm Alistair Conrad, and I'm out.